So the other weekend there was a mechanical keyboard meetup in Sydney, held at Robots and Dinosaurs in Meadowbank. And it's just a cool little makerspace with a bunch of cool machines and tools where you can just make stuff. So they have like a bunch of electronic stuff, some power tools, CNCs, laser cutters and all that cool stuff, and just a whole bunch of 3D printers as well. There was also more downstairs, but I didn't get too much footage of that because there was people there. A mechanical keyboard meetup might seem a bit foreign and a bit weird, especially to people that aren't really engaged in the mechanical keyboard community, but basically these things happen all around the world and are just gatherings of people who share the same interest in mechanical keyboards. And this one is small in comparison to others, so keep that in mind. Unfortunately, it was a really busy day for me and I came in super late and I probably was the last one there, so that's my fault. And I think they had a typing contest and a soldering workshop which I missed. Fortunately, CountParadox from the forums took some photos, so a massive thanks to him. But first of all, since it was a small place, I only brought 3 keyboards, which I thought would be just a bit different. So I brought the Topre Spectrum with the low profile keycaps and short switches, the AN Pro RGB Bluetooth board in yellow, and also the Drevo Caliber 71 with its different layout. In hindsight, I probably should have brought a bunch more, but next time I will. First up, we have a Nova Touch from Cooler Master with a sweet set of Pulse SA keycaps. He also had some artisans on the escape key and the F5 to F8 keys. The same person also brought a Ducky Mini with Cherry MX Blues. This time he had a set of Sky Dolce keycaps and another artisan on the escape key. So they're both really awesome keyboards and look really sleek, which both had a kind of chilled feel to them with the colours of the keycaps, but also just that bit of edge. Next we have 3 keyboards from Flarad, and is also an artisan maker, so he had quite a few things to display. He brought a Leopold FC660C with his own RAG cap artisans, a very solid 65% keyboard from Leopold being their Topre variation. He also had a GH60 mounted on a bamboo base, and it's a floating key design with Cherry MX greens. And lastly, a Nova Touch modded with his own MX sliders. And just a bunch of artisans on display on this one, including his very interesting 4-part artisans, which is supposed to be something to do with the Australian Navy ships, I think. He also had some artisan mounting plates, so just really awesome stuff from him, and it's really cool to see people go that step further. The Infinity 60 board with MX Clears had a sleek set of granite keycaps, and this thing just weighed an absolute ton with a cast aluminium base and chunky rubber feet on the bottom. Even though it was just their 60% board, it may have been the heaviest keyboard at the meetup. He also brought a stock white Poker 3, which I think he plans on working on in the future. And here is the glorious and immaculate Whitefox keyboard with a premium set of GMK keycaps, and together would have cost an absolute fortune. And this thing is just rock solid with its strong aluminium build, and since it's quite a thin profile keyboard, it also just feels heaps dense as well. CountParadox filled up quite a bit of space with some interesting boards. His 65 Neutrino board was one of the hand-wired pieces on display. On top is a nice combination of keycaps, and surrounding that is a handmade wooden case by him. If we look at the bottom, there's a clear acrylic base, so all the wiring and all that hard work is visible, and it's all wired up to a Teensy 2.0, which is a really popular microcontroller in the community. He also had a plank type board in the making, which features a good range of key switches, which looks like different brands as well. He laser cut the 2mm bamboo mounting plate at the makerspace itself, and it looks to be connected to the 3mm white acrylic base by some standoffs or spacers. And I think this was the only ortho linear keyboard there, and probably the only 40% keyboard there, I think. Then one of the only cheap Chinese boards there was this Ling Yi board from Taobao, which has GWH switches, but he said he was replacing them with Gateron blacks. This good old Poker 2 is a really solid keyboard and features RGB mods, and has a really cool Sydney Meetup keycap courtesy of Alex, which I'm actually quite jealous of. And finally from CountParadox is his little DIY macro keypad for Adobe Lightroom, which I thought was a really cool and practical device that I could actually see myself using. Alex, who hosted it, flooded the place with keyboards as well. He had a sweet IBM Industrial Model M, which looked great in grey and was super sturdy. He also had the quite new glorious modular keyboard, so this is a board where you can just pop out the switches without having to desolder them, which just saves so much time. And these use Gator key switches and features a purple to black gradient blank set of keycaps. I think this was the KPB V80 with Matthias Quiet Clicks, which are kind of like Alps, and these have a classy understated set of keycaps. And also with that, it was a V60 with Matthias Linears, which reminds me that I really got to get onto my Matthias builds. This one says it's a Cooler Master Quickfire Rapid and features some Aristotle key switches, which are an old Cherry MX clone and are clicky, and this was the first time I tried those, so that was pretty cool as well. And finally, he had his Pad Silence Nova Touch with some rainbow keycaps, and this thing was just a delight to play with, mainly because it's just different, and they're legitimately quiet. This isn't the most accurate sound representation, but still.
I reckon, where is it? Actually no, it's this alley keyboard. Whitefox? Yeah, that.
If you ever have the chance to try out some Topre boards or just electrocapacitive boards in general, then make sure you do. And I think he may have had more, but I probably just missed them. This 65% board, which didn't have the right card on it, so just ignore that, has an acrylic casing and appears to be a clue board PCB, and these have what looks to be, I think, some Apple keycaps judging by the italic font and the delete key, and has some Japanese characters on it as well, I think. And these are some of the ones that I missed. We have what looks to be a Poker 3 with a Miami key set, and this other 60% next to it with a clear plastic case and blue keycaps, I just thought looked really neat. I like that combination of colors, and I assume that was just a built kit. This Korean custom 75% board is one that I was especially disappointed to miss. This is the Duck Octagon V2, just an amazing looking keyboard, and I've always had a soft spot for 75% boards as well. So yeah, there was just a nice range of stuff to try, and I did miss out on some, so sorry about that. There wasn't too many more exotic layouts and like split keyboards, and there wasn't like Real Forces or HHKB boards like in the previous meetup, and there weren't too many artisans as well, but this is all understandable for us living in Australia with them sky high prices. Flarad had a good talk about this in his podcast, which I'll link. But yeah, it's just cool to get to try out all these different keyboards and key switches, and just getting to see all these different ideas and stuff is awesome. These things are held around the world and are mainly announced on mechanical keyboard forums and hosted by whoever. There are a few forums, but if you follow the mechanical keyboard subreddit, you won't miss anything. So if you're into this stuff or want to get into this stuff, then definitely look out for these events. People also give a lot of good advice, and it's actually the best place to just be able to try everything and get a good indication on what's right for you. So it's perfect for people who want to get into mechanical keyboards as well. You'll also tend to see a lot of enthusiast high grade stuff like some of the stuff that we saw here, but don't let that deter you from bringing whatever board you have. I've reviewed a bunch of keyboards, including a ton of budget boards, because the reality is it's just an expensive hobby, and budget boards will also deliver on a lot of that experience as well. Also, most of these events won't be this intimate, so don't worry about that, and don't be scared to attend them. But yeah, it was fun, and even though I didn't get much time to talk since I came in late and just basically filmed the whole time and then just left for something else, so sorry for anyone there if I came off as kind of antisocial and was just there for the video, because I wish I did have more time. And thanks for those guys who got the event together, in particular Alex and CountParadox, and also for those photos as well. And thanks to Robots and Dinosaurs for allowing us to be there, and hopefully there'll be more in the future, bigger and better, and that more people will come, because I know there's more out there.
Thanks for organizing this. Alright, catch you around.